Welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast, where Tottenham Hotspur have just beaten Luton Town 2-1, and Spurs are back in the top four. I've got two very special guests with me, one to follow shortly. We've got Craig Dearman back with us, and of course we've got actor Ricky Norwood back with us, fresh from Dancing on Ice. Now, we are live on YouTube, on Facebook and on X, so please do give us your thoughts on today's game. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Luton 1. Now, of course, Tottenham Hotspur, Luton took the lead in the third minute. Spurs equalised through an own goal in the 51st minute. And Heung-min Son does it again in the 86th minute, putting Spurs 2-1 up. And as I've said, Spurs are back in the top four. We have now played 29. We have 9 games left of this Premier League campaign. We've won 17. We've drawn 5. We have lost 7. We have a goal difference of plus 18. We have 56 points. Now, during this podcast, Aston Villa will, of course, be playing at, I think they're at home against Wolves. Now, match stats, possession, Spurs had 70% of the ball to Luton's 30. Shots, Spurs had 17 to Luton's 7. Shots on target, Spurs had 4 to Luton's 3. Corners, Spurs had 3 to Luton's 6. And fouls, Spurs 16, Luton 14. Now, we've got Craig and we've got Ricky back with us on the channel. Craig, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm only drinking water, though. So, I can't join in any festivities that may have partaken today. But I have got a smile on my face. So, we're all smiling. And, we're left a lot to discuss. So, let's get into it.
Let's get into it, indeed. And we've also got actor Ricky Norwood back with us. Ricky, fresh from the ice. How are you, mate?
I am supersonic, my friend. I'm so happy to be at the stadium today. I'm so happy to be able to see a live game. I'm so happy to see the boys. It's just made my heart and my mind and my body just feel electric today. And it's got nothing to do with the amount of drink that Chris Cowlin has plied me with this afternoon. It's got nothing to do with that. But look, a big 3 points, a big win to kick off this last 10 games, the business end of the season. Great way to start it. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep building on it. Can't wait to jump into it. Let's have it.
Now, before we get into it, let me just say a huge thank you to everybody who has been a fan of this podcast, watched this podcast, and listened to this YouTube channel. We have been number one football podcast, that is, in 4 different countries this week: South Korea, Hong Kong, Belgium, and Finland. So thank you so much for all your support in those countries, and of course all of the other countries all around the world. Please do let us know where you are watching from. Craig, let's come to you first. Your thoughts on today's game?
It was a weird one, because some of us had domestic tasks to do today rather than going to the football and enjoying yourselves. And I was just finishing jet washing the driveway, and I came in. I missed the first 3 minutes, and we were 1-0 down. It was just like, no, I'm going to go back out and carry on. But it was a weird game. Just a bizarre game, a Tottenham game, really, in many ways. Kind of sort of thing we've been used to this season, where we start off quickly, we concede. We get hit on the counter and we concede. Today, I did think we were going to get back into it, though. Unlike the other week against Fulham, I genuinely thought we were going to get back into it. And as soon as we got 1, I think we get 2, or we didn't eventually get the 3. I know we'll come on to the goals a bit later, but that goal line technology, the Brennan Johnson second one, I reckon 1 millimetre, 2 millimetres from going over the line. It's mental, really, that it's that accurate. I wonder sometimes if it is that accurate, actually, but because I heard there was a bit of variance in it. So, a bit of a shame there, because I thought Johnson was brilliant. But, all in all, just pleased that we got over the line and we're back in full, albeit for, hopefully overnight. But obviously Villa have got to do the business. So, all good, all smiles. And hopefully we can have against West Ham next week. But all in all, not the best performance, but we got the job done, I think. What do you reckon, Rick?
Yeah, no, I'm exactly with you, bro. So for me, I wanted to make sure that we kind of washed the taste of Fulham out of our mouths with this performance. I thought that they, first and foremost, they had to be professional. They had to be respect Luton. They couldn't underestimate Luton. And, you know, I think those first 3 minutes kind of said, you know, that they were here for a game too. And I think that had to have woken us up. Like, this couldn't have been another Fulham game, especially if we've got ambitions of being in that top four and achieving something this year so that we can kind of progress and move on next year. So I think it like all the stats and everything, even watching it, being here in the stadium, the majority of chances I thought fell to us. I thought that we was in control of, you know, most of the actions. I just felt that it was just really easy for Luton to score in those first 3 minutes. It was their first attack, first full flow, and suddenly bish bash bosh, and they've scored it. But we showed a great mercy because this is vegan water. It's really healthy and it helps you remember the game. So
anybody listening on an audio platform, Chris has just gone away to get a pint for himself and Rick. So yeah.
But no,
enjoy.
Listen, mercy, Baku. Thank you, brother. Happy Easter to everybody watching right now that celebrates Easter. Happy Easter weekend to you all, okay? But yes, I felt that in the second half we came out with a bit of a reaction. I thought the Brennan Johnson substitute was inspired. I felt it happened at the right time as well. And look at that. Have a look. What's happening here? Echo chamber. But yeah, man, I'm really happy with those 3 points. I'm happy that we had a professional win. It could have been by more, should have been by more. But we've got those 3 points, and now let's build on it for the rest of these 9 games and see what we've got.
100%.
Craig, let's come to you. Let's go through the starting 11 today. Of course, there was only one change. Werner. I've written down here Werner in for Werner, but of course it wasn't in for Werner. There was only one change anyway. Vicario in goal, Porro, Dragushin, Romero, Udogi, Basuma, Sarr, Madison, Kulusevski, Son and Werner. Of course, Werner came in for Johnson. Of course, Johnson came on in the second half. Craig, any surprises for you?
To be honest, I wouldn't have been shocked if Hojbjerg had started today, actually, because I think he's been playing reasonably well when he's come on over the last few games, and he obviously did well for Denmark in the week. So it wouldn't have surprised me, because Basuma's been a bit hit and miss, to be honest with you. So it wouldn't have surprised me. Seeing Werner back in, I'm not against that. Of course, we'll come on to his miss a bit later, but there's no massive surprises. I think it was good to see Dragushin staying in the team, to be honest with you, to give him a bit of confidence. You know, we shouldn't have needed Mickey van der Ven's pace today. So it was good to rest him. I expect him to be back in the team against West Ham on Tuesday. All in all, I think it was probably more or less what I expected, but I think Brennan Johnson's played his way into the starting 11 now for next week, because I thought he was sensational when he came on. And Kulu again, a lot of puff, but doesn't seem to be hitting that top form that we know he's capable of. So Johnson could have perhaps pushed Kulusevski out, in my opinion, but it wasn't a bad lineup, and it should have been one that was capable of beating Luton, in all fairness.
Let me ask you a question, Craig. On Johnson, is he more effective starting a game, or is he more effective coming off the bench? And also, just a quick little one to every single person that's listening right now. If I'm echoing, let me know, because then I need to move further away. So if I'm echoing, can somebody put it in the comments? Or if the sound quality is a bit bad, let me know. I'll move further away just to make it a bit easier. But, Craig, is Johnson better as a starter or better coming off the bench?
It's a really good point, actually. I mean, you could argue that he is better off the bench. And he certainly probably has been this season, in my opinion. He's had some good games when he started, but all in all, he's been a bit like Hojbjerg. I think Hojbjerg has been really good when he's come off the bench. Yet when he started games, I don't think he's been as effective. it's funny that you get players like that. I remember Solskjaer. For those of a certain vintage will remember Solskjaer playing. He was always better off the bench. Some players are, and they have, that impact against tiring legs. And Luton did tire in the second half, didn't they? So, I mean, would he be happy with being a bench player? No, probably not. But he's a great option to bring on in like today's game, because I thought he was fantastic. What do you think, Rick? You was there, obviously. Was the crowd appreciating his performances there today? I thought they would.
There was definitely a positive response to him coming off the bench today, and I think everybody felt his energy and what he brought to the team. I don't think it's a bad thing being an impact sub right now, especially for his age and especially for like breaking him into the side. I think we should look at Man City and Phil Foden. The way that Pep has brought on Phil Foden has been genius, really. There's been times where he's just brought him off the bench. He's given him 60 minutes sometimes and then taking him off. He's given him little bits here and there. And even when he's played, he's played well and scored or assisted, there's been times that Pep Guardiola has taken him outside of the team and just built up his confidence little bit by little bit to where you can see performances from someone like Phil Foden now, where he's a little bit more consistent. I think we've got to do the same with someone like Johnson and just keep building him. And so I don't think it's a negative that he comes off of the bench and he impacts the game. I think that's a positive. And I don't think it should be taken as a negative from him. He's trusted from the manager. The manager chose him, picked him, made sure that he got through the door and made sure that he was here, at Tottenham Hotspur. So there's definitely some belief there. But for me, I think right now, especially because of his age and development, let Ange do what he's doing, where he'll start in one game, he'll take him out, he'll be a super sub for 2 games, and then he'll kind of build him up that way. I think the more he does that, the more he learns the system, the more he learns where people are running, and the more he learns how he can affect the game. As soon as he came on today, he was determined to affect the game, and I think he did.
Craig, let's talk about Luton's goal. Of course, it came after 3 minutes. I know Ricky was sitting next to me and he shouted straight away, it was too easy. Of course, Chong scored the goal for Luton. What did you make of it?
Exactly that. Yeah, 100%. It was too easy. Obviously hit on the counter. I just think the defending was really poor. There's not much else you can say about it. I don't think Vicario had a chance with it. It was right in the corner. Great finish, to be fair. But we can't be giving teams like Luton who are resilient. Luton are Luton, right? You've seen them this season. They have given the big boys run for their money. They were not going to have come here and lay down, albeit with 10 first-team players out. They were never going to come down and lay down and die. They were always going to fight, always going to believe, and they took the lead. Now, was that us getting complacent? I don't know, but you can't be. That's what worries me about Tottenham a little bit. We always seem to concede, and we shouldn't have conceded today. We should have been looking to win that 4-5-0, in my opinion. So yeah, we're all happy that we got the win, and that's the most important thing. But there's still so much work to be done. I want to see that defence tightened up. We can't be conceding goals like that against the cities and that mob down the road. We can't. And even against West Ham on Tuesday, or else obviously they had a not ideal result for them today. But, and I think there's going to be goals in that game, let me tell you. We always concede. West Ham seems to always concede. So I think that's going to be a great game. But we've got to tighten up at the back. It's just not good enough. But look, we got the win today. And at this stage of the season, dare I say it, 9 games to go, it's all about getting the 3 points. So I like the smell of Chris Cowlin when we won. Oh dear, this is a nightmare today.
We're back in the top 4. We're back in the top 4, Craig.
We are. But as as we all say, it's. I still think we're going to get top 4. I think we're going to squeak it. I think we're going to get over the line. I don't know how the hell we're going to bloody do it. Giving everybody a heart attack every week, but I think we're going to get there. And work to be done in the summer, I think, whether it be defenders or midfielders. You can't blame the defence 100% of the time. Sometimes it's the midfield not doing their job as well. But today, look, that was poor defending. We shouldn't have gone 1-0 down. So, yeah, he's Chris gasbagging to somebody.
Of course he is. He's a celeb over here. He knows everyone. He knows absolutely everyone. Chris, you going to take back over, brother? He doesn't even know. You going to jump in, brother?
Rick, what do you make of that first goal? Using the stadium, what do you make of it?
For me, it was just way too easy. It was their first attack. I think it was their first counter attack as well. Andrews took the ball down the wing. Nobody really kind of closed him down. It was easy for him to get the pass in, and it was an easy shot. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I just felt it was not good enough from our defensive standpoint, which I totally get. I totally agree with what you were saying there, Craig. I think we should have been stronger. I think we should have been more kind of aggressive, especially at the beginning of the game, to kind of set a precedent and then to kind of build on that. But we didn't do that. But I do say the same as you, Craig, in the sense that even though we went 1-0 down, I had every faith that we was coming back into this game. I had every faith that we was going to have a reaction. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in the first half, but definitely in the second half. Do you know what I mean? So, good times. I'm happy that we got the win, but it was way too easy for Luton to score. And if we're conceding goals like that, what's it going to be against? What's it going to be like against Liverpool, City, West Ham, Gooners? Do you know what I mean? We've got to be better than that. And it's the same on the other side. In the attacking sense, we need to be more clinical. We just saw those stats, the possession stats and the shot stats, and we've scored 2 goals. Do you know what I mean? Really and truly, with the quality of player that we've got up top, we should be scoring more and we should be conceding less. That's the aim. That's the goal. That's the, you know what I mean, the kind of thing that we're trying to achieve. But right now it ain't there. I'm happy with what we're doing. I'm happy with how we're kind of going along this journey, and I do think it will happen. But it just didn't happen today, and it's been bitty this season.
Craig, in fairness, I did say to Ricky at half-time, yes, we're 1-0 down, but we will come back and win this 2-1, because it's exactly what we do. We come out in that second half, we'll get an early goal, and then we'll get a late goal to win the game.
Yeah.
That's just the sense, isn't it, this season?
It is, yeah. That's what we were discussing when you was at the bar. It is kind of Spurs. You're dead right. It's something that we've done. I mean, if anybody actually knows the amount of times we've been behind and come back to win, please share in the comments. But it does seem that, especially at home. And I was saying, I think I said on the pod the other week against Fulham, I never got the thought that we were going to come back into that. But today, as with all the other games when we've been behind, I thought we would come back and win it. And exactly that. I thought we would come back and win today, and we did. I don't know if you were here, Chris, when we was talking about the Brennan Johnson second goal. That was millimetres, absolute millimetres, not over the line. But yeah, shame, because he, as I say, he was outstanding today. There was a comment there. I don't know what you guys think, that Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg has to start the next game. What do you guys think, actually? Because I gave my opinion on him. I thought it wouldn't have surprised me if he'd started. What do you reckon, Chris? Do you think he deserves to start against West Ham or for Bissouma or not?
Well, the only thing I can say about Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg is Ricky actually looked down at sub Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg today and said, Chris, look at those legs down there. Look at the size of his legs. That's what he said.
Well, oh, right, okay.
His thighs. I don't know if you remember Christian Ziegler, but his thighs were huge, bruv. So he was standing there, and I was just like, "What the hell?" Just didn't see it like that, bruv. I didn't see it like that. For me, Hojbjerg he does get criticised a lot. I don't think the things that he does do for us and he does do in the game is appreciated enough. When they talk about the dirty work or the hard work, I don't think that's really kind of given enough praise. Yes, he does have a mistake in him. Yes, he does have he's not going to be Zidane. Do you know what I mean? But he definitely does do a job. And we've seen when he's come off the bench, his experience, he's been able to kind of solidify whatever is going on. He's been able to solidify it, and he's been able to kind of give that guidance as well. I think it was in the last game against Fulham when he came on. I think he was saying to Pedro, I think Pedro let him go. He was late in the game, and Pedro let him go. And like Hojbjerg was like, he pointed to him. He's like, "Don't do that." He's like, "Smash him." Like at this time, he's like, "Smash him." And like sometimes we need that. We know from the Amazon documentary, we know from being around Mourinho that sometimes we're too nice, and sometimes you need a player like Hojbjerg to come in to slow down the game. To do what Luton was doing today when they was 1-0 up, which was roll around on the floor, which is try and get a sub, which is, you know, like the goalkeeper taking 20 seconds to kick it out and stuff like that. Well, Hojbjerg does that for us. I know it might have been frustrating to watch because it was Luton, but when it's for Tottenham, you see what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? And so I do think he gets slagged off a little bit too much. I do think his critique is a little bit too harsh. I think we should appreciate what he does bring to Tottenham. And, you know, be fair with the criticism. When he doesn't have a good game, and he does, not every game he has a great game, but when he does have a good game, like praise him for the goodness, and then when he has a bad game, critique him for the badness. It's just like be fair with him a little bit, because before he turned up, we didn't have a midfield. I remember people running through our midfield, running past Winks like he wasn't even there. You know, one of my boys' expressions used to say we was like a pack of polos because there was nothing in the middle. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing in the middle. So, you know, when Hojbjerg came in, he was doing 3, 4, 5 players different jobs. He was covering left back, he was covering right back, he was covering both midfield positions, and he was trying to progress the ball forward as well. There was so many things that he was doing that now that we don't need that, I think that some of the good things that he does gets overshadowed. I think, and I totally get it as well from a fan's perspective, where if you don't fancy somebody, or if you don't think that they're great, then that's just it. You know, you're almost like waiting for confirmation bias when, you know, so all of the good things he's done, he could do 5, 6 good things, but then he does one bad thing and everyone's like, you see that, he's rubbish, to confirm their own bias, which I get, and I've done it myself, and I think we all have as fans. But I think Hojbjerg has been fantastic for us, especially when he comes off the bench. I prefer him coming off the bench and solidifying and changing the game like that rather than starting, if I'm honest. But I think he's done well. And I thought he done well today.
Yeah, he did.
Hello, Dave. How you doing, sunshine?
We've also got Irish Hotspur with us, Dave Harris. Dave, how are you?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Look, I do apologise about being a small bit late. I did say to Chris I'll be running a small bit late, but I'm here. I made it anyway. Look, you know, 3 points in the bag at the end of the day. You know, these last 10 games when it's business end of the season, even if you don't play well, you don't lose. You don't lose these sort of games. You don't lose games. You put points on the board, and that's what exactly we've done. We didn't play the prettiest, but we've put pressure on Villa heading into their kickoff later on this evening, and we've got 9 games to go. It's all you could ask for. Don't get me wrong. There's a few things that I think need to be ironed out heading into next season. I'd still call us one half FC. First half was nowhere near good enough. But Postecoglou, he made a change at halftime. He learned from the mistake against Fulham. He made a change earlier, and it had a massive impact. And we went and got the 3 points at the end of the day.
Dave, overall, of course, Spurs are back in the top 4. But what did you make of the performance? Are you happy with the performance? And of course, you know, I've no doubt you're happy with the 3 points. But overall, the performance going into the West Ham game on Tuesday, are you happy?
No, I don't think it fills me with a lot of confidence, to be brutally honest. You know, Luton, we made hard work of them. What we should have done is attack them nice and early, put them to bed if we could in the first half, and get our players off nice and early and get them rested for West Ham. It didn't quite turn out that the way. It seemed to be a bit more of a difficult game. You look at the likes of Maddison, he came off, he looked like he was fuming when he came off. He looked really annoyed. But when it comes to someone like James Maddison, I don't think he does anywhere near enough in terms of what we brought him here to do. Basuma, I didn't think was at the races. I think Dragusin, you know, he doesn't like losing his left foot. That's a huge problem. Van de Ven will be in there. That'll help us in that regards. Werner gets into great positions, but the end product is called into question. Look, the problem I think we've got going into the West Ham game is we don't really know what Tottenham's going to turn up. It was the same, you know, coming into the Fulham game. We turned up against Aston Villa, but got turned over 3-0 a week later. But at the end of the day, they do say coming off the end of an international break, you know, going into your first game, it's just about getting the 3 points on the board and picking up your performances from there. There's a lot of things that need to be ironed out, and I don't think they're going to get ironed out by Tuesday or by the weekend. That's something that'll have to happen over the summer and stuff like that. But now it's just about winning by hook or crook, and hopefully we can do that between now and then. I'm not 100% happy with the performance, like I said, but there's something to build off.
Do you know what, Dave?
100%.
Let me ask you a question, bro. You know, against Fulham, it was almost like we expected just to turn up and it to happen and us to roll them over, right? Did you see a difference today in the way we approached the game? Now, we wasn't at our optimum best. We wasn't playing fully flowing Ange ball, right? But did you see a difference between the Fulham performance and the attitude or the energy that we took into that game to this game, watching from home?
It's hard to say, really. Look, I think in possession we looked a lot better than what we were against Fulham, and out of possession we looked a lot hungrier than what we were against Fulham. We chased down, we looked to battle with Luton and stuff like that. Look, the first half, we could have easily gone into that, you know, 1-up or even level. You know, Vernon missed a huge chance, took the effort on his left when he should have bended it in with his right foot. And I think there was another opportunity there as well. But look, second half, I think for me, I did see a reaction. That's what we didn't get against Fulham, which we were all expecting. You know, I think a lot of people were calm at halftime against Fulham, going, it's all right, typical Tottenham. We'll come out in the second half and blitz teams. That's what we've done. We haven't scored a goal in the last 6 first halves of football. You know, it's becoming a big problem. But you know, second half, there was a reaction. I didn't see a team that wanted to roll over and die from, you know, like we did last season. You know, there was a game against Southampton last season. We were in full control. We allowed them to sort of get back in it. And we sort of, the rest of the season just petered out. That could have easily happened after the Fulham game. It didn't happen. We've seen a bit of a reaction today. Geez, you boys are definitely enjoying that. But we've seen a bit of a reaction today in the second half. And in the second half, I seen a team that didn't want to just roll over and accept what was happening. They went about it. They looked to affect the game and go and put the 3 points on the board and got their just reward. So I did see a much better reaction in this game compared to the Fulham game. But we still can't keep relying on one half of football to turn up and kill teams off. We have to be a lot more better in the first half, a lot more convincing in the first half. I just think in the first half of games, we don't look to break them down enough with the possession that we usually end up having. But second half, we definitely seen a better reaction than what we did against Fulham. But also, that's probably because Ange made the change with Kulusevski, completely changed the game. He hauls off Kulusevski. It sends out a message to everyone else that you're not safe. It doesn't matter who you are in this team. I have no problem taking you off if you're not performing. And you've seen a reaction to it in the second half.
And we needed that as well. We need consequence for action or inaction. Do you know what I mean? If you do put in a poor performance, then we need to see it as fans and supporters, but also that team need to feel it as well, that if they're not up to it, then they're being taken out. Do you know what I mean? Do you think that we need a plan B, or do you think we need to do plan A better? And I'm going to put that out to the group and to the fans at home as well.
I would say a bit of. I think do plan A better, but we also, I think, need a plan B as well. And to be honest, Rick, I think you're much better on ice skates than you are at drinking, brother. Look at the amount of alcohol you got in front of you. You're about a pint behind Chris, aren't you? Jesus Christ, come on, son, get with it.
He just asked me. He was like, "Do you want another one?" I said, "Nah, mate, I'm sipping. I'm on the pod now." He's like, "All right, I'm fine." And he comes back and he brings me another one. I'm like, "Oh."
He's very slow, Ricky Norwood.
He's professional. He's professional, is what he is. Look.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you.
There you go. I'll tell you what, Chris. I think we're probably at the point. What did you guys think, right, about the Son chance? Because that was obviously on the first half. I think we're probably about there, Chris, aren't we? You know, obviously went through, hit both posts, and then there was kind of 2 or 3 chances within 30 seconds, wasn't there? I mean, we should have buried one of those, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we're talking about the 20th minute. Son hit the post, it then hit another post. Werner then had a chance cleared off the line. Sarr had a chance cleared off the line. Just unlucky, wasn't it? Son is an incredible player, of course, captain, fantastic. Dave, let's come to you on this, because, you know, sometimes you think that it deserves a goal. Probably that chance deserved a goal. but it just didn't quite go in. And I think it's fair to say that Spurs have had a lot of luck this season, but we certainly didn't have the luck in the 20th minute in this game.
No, look, we were very unlucky. I mean, I couldn't believe it myself when it hit the inside of the post nearest to him, rolled across the line, hit the inside of that post, and rolled out. You know, when you hit the inside of both posts, usually it ends up going in the other way, in the net. It came back out on this one. Absolutely unlucky there. Werner, I had no faith in whatsoever, you know, that he was going to put that away when it fell to him. Papa Matasar, again, he hit it straight down the middle. If he would have hit it more to the right of the defender, that would have ended up in the back of the net. But look, I'm a firm believer in that. You know, you create your own luck. You know, and we ended up doing that. You create enough chances, you'll eventually take them, and we end up took them. But we do need to learn to become a lot more clinical. Right now, we've got one player that's absolutely clinical, and that's Son. The rest of them, Richarlison, he's done a great job this season. I'm a big fan of Richarlison, but is he going to be the 20-odd goal striker or man we need every season in, season out? I don't think so. Werner blows hot and cold with his chances in front of goal. Brennan Johnson, there's a lot of debate whether that was over the line, you know, whether it should be given. There was millimetres in it. But at the end of the day, he had all the right-hand side to put the ball in the back of the net. He hit straight at Kaminski, which, you know, allowed him to sort of get that save on it. You know, we're not clinical enough in front of goal, and that's because we saw Larry Kane in the summer. This summer, we need to look at bringing in players that are a lot more clinical in that front line, and I think that's one of our biggest problems this season, is that you've got players that blow hot and cold. 1 week they're at it, 1 week they're not. And when you put them in front of goals, the likes of Werner, no one has full confidence when he's bearing down on goals that he's going to score. Same with Richie and same with Brennan Johnson to a degree. So I think that needs to be sorted out. You need to bring in a lot more clinical forwards here. And I think you'll see us kill off teams a lot more clinically than what we have been this season. Ange ball gets us into the position to do it. But sometimes we just don't take that advantage. Sandro.
What?
Please, Sandro.
Go for it.
I just got a cuddle off Sandro.
Yeah, come on.
No, Sandro.
What's your thoughts on the game today, Sandro?
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm so happy with the win because we need so much of this win today, especially because Villa is playing now against Wolves, and after we have a strong matches coming on, and we need to win this game. I think I think in the beginning of the game we start a little bit slowly, and after we came on in the second half, and we score, and it was good for us, guys. Very good to win this game.
Yeah, it was important, that's for sure, wasn't it? It was could have done with you in midfield today, Sandro, I think. You know, definitely.
Oh, man.
This is our future manager.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Our future manager.
Sandro, would you have loved to played in this team, Sandro, under Ange? You'd have loved it, wouldn't you?
For sure. Especially with Angie, with the way he wants to the players to play. But guys, we got Bissouma, we got Bentancur, Sarr. I think we are good on the middle, and we just need to play the Champions League to try to improve the performances, and I think we are in the way, guys. Like I always said, we are in the way, and we need to be in the Champions League. We need to beat Villa, and yes, is that
you mentioned about us getting off to a slow start there. How hard is it, from your experience, coming off an international break, going straight back into that first game off the international break, to get things going again?
Yeah, I felt like in the beginning of the game we was a little bit slowly, and like you said, when you have a break, it's sometimes difficult for you to in the beginning to feel the game again, you know. And I think now we played, we win, and I think next game we're gonna play better. We're gonna play better, definitely.
Sandro, do you keep in contact with Lucas Moura? Does he still follow Spurs?
I don't speak with him, but we like pictures from Instagram. You know, we comment, we speak, but not like a call. But he's a idol. He loves Spurs, and he will always follow us.
Yeah, he's a top bloke. And did you speak to Richarlison? Do you speak to Richie much, Richarlison?
Just like I said, it's just I don't want to bore the guys. You know, I don't want to call. I don't. But we can see we in Instagram sometimes we comment the pictures, but yeah, maybe I can see him now.
So, what do you think about our chances for top four and score prediction for the West Ham game?
Top four, I believe on that, and I think this game was very important to be there, because now we are putting pressure on Aston Villa, and we need to keep winning. So, and hope Aston Villa can draw or can lose now, and for us to be there. And if we draw this game now or lose this game, will be very difficult for us. So, yeah.
How's it going? You all right? A win. A win's a win, right?
Winners is a win. Always.
We've now got Richard Whitehead joining us. Rich, how are you?
Yeah, good. After 3 points.
Yeah.
It's a big game.
Yeah, all good.
Nice.
Oh, the game today, man. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Werner,
Win is a
what's going on, man?
Win is always good, but
That was a tough watch.
yeah,
That was stress.
the second half was better.
Yeah, yeah.
Better, way better.
It was because of my half-time speech, though, right? I did a bit of a motivation speech at half-time, and that kind of kicked everything on. Ricky
was too busy drinking.
Yeah, that's it. Is the ice in that drink, Ricky?
No ice, bruv. I'm off the ice. I'm off the ice.
What a picture. Richard Whitehead one side and Sandro the other. What a picture here.
What a picture, bro. Listen, if you're watching from home right now, make sure you drop a heart or a big thumbs up in the likes. If you're from Brazil, make sure you drop the flag in the comments. Just send loads of love to these guys right here that have come down, and they make the show even better.
100%. Oh, you're on mute, Sandro.
Guys, I need to go, guys, and we speak.
Nice to meet you.
Come on,
Cheers,
Make
Sandro.
sure you drop
Take
some
care.
love in the comments for Sandro, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
The
Sandro.
beast right here.
Oh, what a legend.
He's a lovely fella, isn't he? He really is.
He's a fan of popping on here, isn't he? He likes popping on every once in a while.
He does. Yeah, he's a top fella. He recognised me. Before, I couldn't believe it. You know, because he watches the podcast, so it's great. It's great. There's Rich. There's Richard.
Richard Whitehead, MBE, will now be hosting this podcast.
It's only because Chris wants the beer, that's why.
I think he's had enough.
Listen, I'm sipping, bro. I'm sipping.
Right.
But you know what? I think that, all right, it wasn't the greatest of performances today, but we definitely, at this time where we can start to build momentum. For the first time in a long time, we're going to have a midweek game and then a game next weekend as well. So fingers crossed we can start to build this momentum. First and foremost, we've got the 3 points from Luton. We have to get that out of the way. Let's go to West Ham. We know that it's always going to be a cup. It's their cup final, as we know. We need to turn up like it's our cup final as well, because those 3 points are massive. The thing is with West Ham is that they're building and they've been recruiting well, little bit by little bit, for a long time. So it's important for us to go out there and get those 3 points midweek. And then, fingers crossed, we start to build that momentum. We start to build that energy so that we go into the weekend against Forest, innit? Is it Forest on the weekend? And we can start to build this momentum. We knew what it looked like at the when we was in the Champions League running for under Conte. You know, that time when we had Norwich, the Gooners. There was a ton of, I think, Newcastle. We just kind of went on this run, and this is the time now to go on a run. It starts to build now, because we haven't been able to build any momentum throughout the season, whether it be injuries, suspensions, international tournaments. Do you know what I mean? Or international breaks. It's been such a bitty season. So definitely got to start to build that momentum right now.
I know it's so hard to get the words in edgeways when Ricky's on, because he's like, just goes off on a tangent. Look, today, it was all about 3 points. That was it. Nothing else. Everything else. Like, it's poor. Like, I watched the game and I was like, poor. Werner, poor. Like, first 5 minutes was terrible.
We're in the top 4, Rick.
Are we going to win a trophy this year? No, we're not, no. But Spurs fans, if you didn't see the game today, the first half for me was a continuation of the Fulham game. So many players were off the ball. And then some guy at half-time called Richard Whitehead did this inspirational talk, and then all of a sudden we win 2-1. So
you're claiming the victory.
I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it's me, but it probably was me. Yeah.
It probably was you. Yeah, 100%. It's got to be. There's common denominator there, isn't there? I mean,
it was dialed straight into Ange as well. It was dialed straight into Ange, and I think Ange kind of took it all on the chin.
Brilliant.
I've got to tell you as well, Richard smells lovely. So maybe that had something to do with it as well.
Can I just ask? We know that Richard Whitehead, MBE, who I'm with now, is a motivational speaker. Rich, what do you think that Ange says actually at half-time to the players?
Yeah, well, I don't know what he said to Werner, because he said, do the same as you did the first half, and that was nothing. And he did nothing in the second half either. Like, honestly, guys, useless. And even down to the other players on the pitch didn't want to pass in the ball today. That's how I felt. I felt it was his worst game for Spurs. Going back to your question, though.
I thought motivational speakers are meant to be quite positive.
Going back to your question, I think he said, don't pass to Werner. That's what he said. Don't pass to Werner, because that's what they didn't do in the second half. And he was better. Anyway, guys, I've got to travel all the way back to Nottingham. It's been great as always. And I'll see you again soon on the show.
Cheers, Rich. Top man.
Thank you very much.
Love every time.
See you soon. Cheers, matey.
See you soon.
I think we need to come on to the second half. What happened in that second half then, Dave? What did Ange say to the team, and were you impressed with the start of the second half?
Well, do you know what? Just before they panned for, out of the game, I did see Ange, as soon as he went to walk down that tunnel, he turned and pointed straight at the bench and pointed to the pitch, basically telling them, get warmed up, you're going on. And I think he just went in there and lit a fire underneath their ass. I think the problem we've got is we've got a very good sort of first 11. But I think the reason why we keep seeing the ups and downs is because I think they become complacent, because there's not enough people chasing down their spot. We still don't have another squad depth, a lot of squad depth. We have players that are okay when they come in, but we don't have a proper replacement for Maddison to keep him on his toes week in, week out. We don't have a proper replacement for Basuma to keep him on his toes. We don't have a proper sort of striker that you nail your hat on, chasing down other people in the forward line to keep them on their toes and stuff like that. So for me, I think that's a huge problem. I think every manager will suffer with that until we leave them in the job long enough to be able to bring in a squad that is theirs. Postecoglou is still working with some players that he doesn't trust or that will not be here going into next season. And I do think, not having a proper squad allows these players to get complacent. So I think he just went in at halftime, told them a few home truths, turned around to Kulusevski, you're coming off, Johnson's coming on, and it doesn't matter who you are, you'll be next. If you don't go out there and put in a different, show a much better performance than what you've shown. I think that's what's happened. There's not more he could have really said. It was definitely not much tactical related, because we were still creating chances and that. We just didn't take them. But I think he just went in there and read them the riot act and made one change, and that done enough to send out the message. I don't think there was anything revolutionary that many people might expect. He was fuming at halftime, absolutely fuming.
But don't you think that's a positive, Dave? Don't you think that's a positive that he can go in there, and now that we've got a fully fit squad, we don't have to kind of suffer a poor performance right now. We can actually take you off. We can actually replace you. There is a player there ready to come on and to make an impact right now, and I think that's a positive. It's also a positive when you're having a poor game to be taken off and to be kind of held to account. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're having a bad game, I can't leave you on I'm going to take you off. Now it's up to you to prove to me during the next week that you're good enough to play against West Ham, or you're good enough to play next week. Do you know what I mean? And I think for the first time in a long time, we've had that. Another thing that I think is a real positive is that every time Ange has been asked about transfers or about the squad, he's like, we've got so much more work to do. He said that in the first 10 games when we were unbeaten. He said, yeah, it's great, but we've got so much more work to do. We've got the biggest place is the final third. Do you know what I mean? The attacking sense. He said that consistently. So to have a manager that is honest, that has heart, and is telling us not just what we want to hear, but which is the truth, which is what we're seeing with our own eyes. I think we have to take that into account going into the next summer window and know that there's a lot more work to do. Exactly what you just said there, Dave. I don't think he's naive enough to kind of push it to the side and go, oh, we've just got 3 points. Kulusevski's great. I think he's seen where the problems are, and he continues to let us know without hurting anybody's ego or pride or anything like that publicly. And he's acted accordingly in being able to take off someone like Kulusevski, who is a workhorse. We know that. Villa 1, Wolves 0. We've just had on the updates on the comments right there. But you know what I mean, Dave?
No, look, 100% I get what you mean, you know, and it wouldn't do any of these players any harm. You know, under previous managers, they were able to sort of walk out there and perform when they want and no consequences. Look, Conte said it to us when he left. Harry Kane said it when he left, you know, similar words. You know, there's no consequences whether you win or lose at Tottenham Hotspur. And that's a culture that Ange has to bring in here. And the only way Ange can do that is by having a squad, a full squad, where he can say, okay, you're not performing at halftime, out you come, and in you go. And what that does is, I guarantee you, Kulu will buck up his ideas and come out the traps flying next half. No player wants to be substituted at halftime. It's seen as an embarrassment in the squad and in football in general, being pulled off at halftime, especially when your team go on to win the game and completely change their performance, because it then makes it look like you're the issue. So now what it does is it gives Kulusevski something to answer, and it's up to him what way he does with that now. And we need that. We need to be able to keep players on their toes. What we can't do is let players get comfortable like they have in years gone by. That's why we rotate the change managers so often. That's why the tactics and all get changed so often and stuff like that. You know, you need to be able to give this manager time. I've seen more than enough this season from Ange Postecoglou. You know, everyone says when a manager comes in, you expect him to work with what they've got, and he's done that to a large degree and got a lot more out of it that has satisfied the fan base more than what Jose did, more than what Conte did and stuff like that. So, you know, I believe what he says in the press conference. You're right, Ricky, about he's constantly talking about, you know, needing improvements, that the squad is nowhere near as robust as he would like it and stuff like that. So for me, I've seen more than enough to say this is the guy that we take the gamble on to push us into a title race next season and go and back him with what he needs in the summer.
Ricky's just had another pint put in front of him. This is going to be disastrous. This is not going to end well for Mr. Norwood. Yeah, Chris, we come on to the second half now, so we're just about to cover the first goal. I thought it was a really well made goal, Rick. Well, if you can talk at this point, I know it's a very emotional time for you. It was a really good goal, wasn't it? And obviously, Werner, you would hope would have put it in had it not been an own goal.
Yeah, do you know what? From where we was in the stand, it felt like it wasn't an own goal. I thought it was his goal to begin with. It was only when the announcer came on and then said own goal that I knew that that's what's happened. But it was a good move. It was a good move. I thought it was a good attacking, flowing move. I felt it deserved a goal at the end of it. And even then, even when we scored, they ended up checking it on VAR, and I was like, oh, come on, please. I was like, oh, come on. And people around us was like, this is just standard. This is just, I think Sandro's still here. I don't know where he is. But fans around me, they were like, oh, this happens all the time. Every time we score a goal, they're always checking for offside. So I'm just like, oh. But I knew it was on. I had that feeling. Do you know what I mean? So I felt it was very well deserved. Look at Sandro, man. Can everybody believe? Can you, if you're watching right now live, leave a like subscribe, do what you got to do if you got love for Sandro, man. Because, oh my gosh, we've got Sandro on the show and he loves being on the show. How crazy is that? Craig, Dave, how crazy is that? Come on,
it's mental.
Unreal.
He's such a hugger.
Yeah, I've had a couple of cuddles off Sandro. Yeah, he's like a big cuddly bear.
He squeezed my bottom, so I don't know what that was about. I'm only joking.
Just on the first goal, do you know what I really liked about it, lads, is, I was moaning at halftime. When we were going forward, it was all very mundane. There was no flair. There was no real creativity.
Hold on, Dave. Hold on. Let's talk a little bit about Sandro.
Okay. Well, what I loved about Sandro is he had a right good shot on him. He had an absolute screamer on him, so I loved that. Gave it his all. Big, tough man in midfield. A lot of players could pick up some stuff off him so far, in this modern day and age of football. What a player he was.
Yeah, I think he's got a lovely beard, Sandro. I think he's well manicured.
Yeah, he is very well groomed. Very well groomed.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he's a top fella, though. He really is a top fella.
He's a diamond, man. And he loves Tottenham, and I love players that love playing for Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We've had a lot of players over the years that might not have put in a shift for us or might not have cared or just came to get a pay packet. Sandro wasn't one of those people. Do you know what I mean? Sandro
and he smells nice.
well, I've got to say, he smelled good, but Richard smelled great. Like, I don't know what aftershave he was wearing, but he smelled bloody well-tastic, honestly.
Richard is a legend. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep it moving. Chris, what's the next question? He keeps going on blank screen. What's going on here, Craig? You know what I mean?
Rick, does Luton hold a special place in your heart, Rick? Because obviously it's not a million miles away from Watford, is it? So, it was sorry to mention that. Sorry. I said I wouldn't mention it again, but then I did. So, and he's gone.
No. Do you know what? You got to love Luton, man. From where
you got to love Luton. Yeah.
Listen, they're in the Premiership right now, Premier League, I should say. And what they've done to get here has been immense. And the way that they play football is pretty immense too. And they've got some really good players. I thought that Chong is a really good player. Barkley, Andros playing. They've brought together a real kind of community.
Would you take? Sorry, Rick, just to butt in there. Would you take Barkley in the summer at Tottenham? No. I think we've got a Barkley in Maddison, and I think that Maddison is levels above. I like Barkley, but I think he's missed the boat for Tottenham Hotspur. I think when we was linked with him years ago, I think if he would have come at that point, he could have been really good for us. But no, at this point right now, I think we've got Maddison in there, who is is far levels above, and I think that he's got far more ceiling. He's got a better ceiling. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's a big fish in a small pond sort of thing. Barkley. He's a good player, but yeah. What about you, Dave? Do you like Barkley, or are you not for you? Don't you think he can do better?
Look, I like Barkley. I think he's had a fantastic season at Luton, but for me, I don't think he solves the issue for me that we currently have in midfield. When I look at a lot of the midfielders, and it's only really Hojbjerg that sort of does it when he comes off the bench, is he passes beyond the midfield sometimes. He can expand it. He's got what's the right word? He's got a good passing range on him, right? With Bissouma, Maddison and players like that in there, everything has to be nice and tight and stuff like that. None of them can get on the ball, pick their head up, play it into Son, play it into one of the wingers making a run and stuff like that. And for me, I think that's the sort of midfielder we need to be able to change games, whether it's off the bench or from the start, maybe against the big teams, where instead of trying to play through them all the time, you have that option who can, a bit like a deep line playmaker, get on the ball, one touch, hit Brennan Johnson in behind, get him straight in behind that back line with plenty of space. Same with Timo Werner or Son, no matter who it may be. For me, I think that's the option that we currently lack in that midfield. Pirlo-esque maybe, if anyone's trying to maybe envision what I'm maybe talking about. Someone like that who has just a bit of a better passing range. I think that sometimes is what Bissouma's problem is. Everyone knows knows that he has to either dribble it out or pass it short. So they get the press on the midfield, they get the press on all of our passing options. If we had someone that can expand that play, I think it'd help us out a great deal in Ange ball, especially with all the quick players running off him that Ange wants in the team.
Yeah.
Would you have taken Paulinho from Fulham?
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great player.
I felt that was a deal ready and waiting to happen in January. Hojbjerg plus a little bit of money. Let's get Paulinho in, because I thought that he's been fantastic at breaking up play, being that six that I think that we need right now. Gents, what do you think?
I think we definitely need another six. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what a six is, to be honest, as in what Ange wants out of a six for our team. But you know, if we did, there's certain positions in the team that we've spoke about many times that I think we need to strengthen in, and I think that's one of them, 100%. But for me, if Harry Kane was in this team, or any decent centre forward, they'd get a hatful. And as I've said, Richarlison for me doesn't quite cut the mustard. I love his passion. I love his closing down. His work rate is brilliant. But for me, a centre forward, you've got to be looking 20 plus goals a season, and he might get it right. But for me, that's where I think we do need to strengthen in the summer.
Can I just say, Neo says here, best football podcast on the internet by a country mile. Great show, boys. Neo, thank you very much.
Gotta love Neo, man. Big up to Neo.
Yeah. I love The Matrix. Absolutely love, one of my favourite films. So.
Postecoglou in his press conference just said the disappointing thing about the first half is the goal that we conceded. Our first football was good. Our created chances, 1v1. We hit the post. We blocked a couple, quite a few shots, and they defended desperately. Dave, surely you've got to be happy. I know. I think Aston Villa are 1-0 up at the moment against Wolves, but surely, you know, a win is a win against Luton. I know that, you know, it wasn't the win that everybody wanted by 3 or 4 goals. I know Ricky was saying before the game it would be 4-1. But have won the game, 3 points.
No, look, I'm happy at the end of the day. It keeps us in the hunt. You know, the last few years, especially last season, right, we tailed off with this sort of period, to come. And Sandro spoke about how hard it is to come straight in off the back of an international break and pick things up, And this first game, it's about putting 3 points on the board. Don't get me wrong. I would have liked 4 or 5 goals, and we could have had 4 or 5 today. Werner missed a huge opportunity. Sonny hit the post twice and stuff like that. On another day, we would have took them and would have been a much more convincing scoreline. But Ricky, you spoke about it earlier. Under Conte, we had a run, I think, of 10 games, and we drew 2 against Brighton and Brentford, and we weren't at the races. But the big difference was we put points on the board. And these last 10 games is just about getting points on the board. It doesn't matter how. Don't get me wrong. I want performances as much as the next guy. But we're now in the business end of the season, the do or die, where dropping points or losing games has consequences. So it's about just putting points on the board and putting a run together. We kicked that off today. Let's back it up Tuesday night against West Ham. We've shown under Conte that we can do it with a much worse squad. Why can't we go on a good run between now and the end of campaign? I know we've got some big teams coming up, but we've put in our best displays against the bigger teams so far this season. It's the smaller teams that we actually struggle against when they sort of play low block or they have a bit more fight in them and stuff like that. But for me, it was about getting 3 points on the board, and I am happy because, we're still in the Champions League hunt with 9 games to go. It's all you can ask for. I didn't expect to be in this position at the start of the season.
No, I remember. Sorry, Vic. I remember, Dave. Do you remember the show we did when Harry Kane left? I said we finished 10th.
Yeah,
and obviously I've revised that now. But what I get frustrated with this team as much as the next person. But what you have got to do is sometimes step back and look at the bigger picture. Yeah. We haven't, for me, if 100% is like a Man City at their best, right? Best football team in the world, in my opinion. I think sometimes we're at 50, 60% of what I think Ange wants us to play, right? Look at our results. And we're in 5th, right, at the moment. But we were, so it's not bad, is it? It's the progression. If this had been under Conte, we'd still be watching boring football. We can actually see a plan now, and that's what keeps me coming back. That's what keeps me believing, is a word Ricky uses a lot, is that belief in the team and where we're going. And for me, that's a massive thing, isn't it, Rick? I mean,
No,
I know
absolutely.
me and you agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing that I spoke about this the other night, but I had a kind of a theory or an analogy about our season right now, and like the first 10 games, it's like studying for an exam. And the first 10 games, like that was the beginning of the year, beginning of term, and everybody was present and correct, and everybody was ticking off their attendances and stuff like that, and we was getting A's left, right, and center. Then we had 18 games in the middle where everything went skew with. And right now we're at the last 10 games, and right now this is exam time period. Do you know what I mean? Cowlin's out already, Stu. That was a comment. He's gone.
Checked out.
Yeah, no, it's Craig's show now. It's the Craig Cowlin channel. No, I'm joking. But like the last 10 games, Nomad just put in the comments, Cowlin in the dentist chair, and he kind of is with Sandro. But the last 10 games is exam time period. And sometimes, even when we went into exams, there was always a subject that we wasn't that confident on. And maybe today it was physics. Do you know what I mean? And we wasn't 100%, but we've got a C, we've got a pass in our first exam, and now it's time to build on that, and it's time to keep moving forward, because if they want to achieve anything, this group of players right now, this is the time to achieve it. This is the time to put your best foot forward. This is the time to give everything that you've got without any international breaks for the cause. And this is a new group of players. There ain't no more Dyer. There ain't no more Hugo. There ain't no Dele. There ain't no Dembele. There ain't no Harry Kane. This is a new side. So if this side want to succeed in this first round of exams, these next 10 games or the next 9 are really pivotal, and they're really important. And it's about going at them and attacking them with all the viv and vigor that we can, all the energy that we can, to take the mistakes from today and keep moving forward, to take the mistakes from Fulham and keep moving forward. Because right now, if we can get on a run and for the first time build some momentum without any more internationals, without any more injuries, without any more suspensions, fingers crossed, then I think we could be in a great place. Do you know what I mean? But it's right
100%.
now for those players to step up. For Maddison, for Sonny, for Romero, for everybody else, Mickey Van der, for everybody else, this is exam time. Do you know what I mean? So it's time to go and get your A's and your A stars. Let's go.
100%. I'll tell you what, Dave, actually, Ricky made a really good point there when he said, keep going. That's exactly what we did for the winner, wasn't it, in the end? I mean, did you think that winner was going to come? Did you think we were going to get it in the manner we did? Because it all seemed to come from our fast play and crosses from the wings today, didn't it?
It did. Look, I live by Ange Postecoglou's motto: we never stop. How many times can we say that this season? We are never out of a game. How many goals have we scored late this season to go and win games and stuff like that? And that's the attitude that Postecoglou's trying to get into this team. In years gone by, the team would have been resounded with 5 minutes to go. It's not our day. Would have just, sort of capitulated and collapsed. Whereas with Postecoglou, he knows, the last 5 minutes you can go and score goals. It's perfect time to go at the team, and we do not stop. The amount of late goals we've got this season to put points on the board, and that's what it's about. Never give up. That's what this crest should mean to everybody, that you never give up. When you have it on your chest, you don't give up. And that's exactly what Postecoglou was trying to instill in these players. And I do think they're taking it on board. They go right to the final whistle. And it's a huge plus. Fergie time. He made a living off Fergie time. He used to catch teams late in games a lot. That's one good thing that we can take so far from this season that Ange Postecoglou has given it, that has given us, that we keep going to the very end. We do not give up, and it's, for me, I absolutely love that. I think there's nothing worse than a team that gives up, because it sets everything for future. When the going gets tough, you're ready to quit just like that. This team will not do that. They will keep going. They never say die. And I absolutely love that about this team. I know there's some people in my chat earlier on saying, get Son off during the game. And I was like, you never take Son off, because if he gets one chance, he's likely to take it. And he absolutely buried it, which I'm absolutely delighted about. And hopefully we can use that as confidence now heading into these last 9 games, and just realize that we've worked so hard to get here against all the odds, against all the predictions of this season. We've worked so hard to get here. What way do you want to be defined going forward under Ange Postecoglou era? Do you want to fail in your bid for top 4 and set the tone going forward into following seasons? Or do you want to succeed, get top 4, and then head into next season with your ambition of going and win trophies? Also, with Postecoglou trying to battle the narrative about top 4 so much this season in terms of press conferences being asked about it. I think as the GOAT said over the international break that behind the scenes, he's trying to change that sort of culture as well. It's very important that we do get top 4 this season, so that next season all the talk around Tottenham is about titles, is about going winning trophies, and not just top 4 again. But with us saying we never stop, we can always take points from a game, and that's a huge plus.
I totally agree. Oh my gosh!
This is going to get messy.
They'll have to get a trolley to get you guys out.
Bloody hell. But you know what? Talking about Sonny, right? So, me and Chris was talking during the game, and at times he was quiet, okay? But for me, Sonny, I think, is more exposed in the number 9 than he normally is on the left wing, right? Left wing, you might get 3 chances, and one of them, he's definitely gonna put away one. But when you're in the number 9 position, it's even more exposed. So when you get that chance, it's like every single chance we're expecting Sonny to put it away. So when he doesn't, there's a bit of a disappointment there. But I think just shifting those positions there kind of shows us that not everything is going to firstly go our way, but there's a difference between left wing Sonny and centre forward Sonny. I still think that Sonny is our best centre forward this season. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be he's our world-class player. He's the one that out of 2 chances, he's going to put away 1. I still feel with Richarlison, and I know he's had some difficulties this season, but I'm only going to talk about what I see on the pitch, that he would probably need 3 or 4 chances to score 1. But that's the same as most Premier League sides. Rashford needs 4 or 5 chances to score 1. Do you know what I mean? Like Højlund, how many goals has he scored? You look at Antonio at West Ham. How many goals? I know he scored today, but how many goals has he scored? How many chances did it take for him to score? Who was he linked with? Solanke at Bournemouth. He takes 4 or 5 chances to score 1. Sometimes we only see the highlights on Match of the Day or on YouTube, and we're like, oh, he looks good. He's banged a great goal, but we haven't seen the 3 or 4 chances that he's missed before. When it comes down to Sonny, I trust him to score more often than not. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's a more exposing position on the field, but I trust him more. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think we should treat him too harshly for a quiet game, because we know as soon as he has an opportunity, more times than not, he's going to put it away. And he done that tonight.
That's it. Tell
me what you think.
Well, no, I agree, mate. I mean, the thing is with Sonny, and any world-class player, right? They could do hardly anything during the game, but if they rescue you, if they get you the win in the last minute of the game, they've done their job, right? And it's the results business, isn't it? I know it's a cliche, but without Sonny, he's our captain. You can see what that meant to him today. You can see what that goal meant to him today, and it's just wonderful to see. He tried, Son does have quiet games, but everybody has quiet games. Haaland has quiet games.
Harry Kane had quiet games.
Harry Kane had a lot of quiet games. Yeah, thankfully he had a lot of really good games as well. But so does Son. You can't expect somebody to be 10 out of 10 every week. Nobody's going to be 10 out of 10 every week. But the most important thing for me is Sonny loves the club. He loves the fans. He's a great ambassador for the club, and he will always give you 100%, even if it doesn't come off. He will always. He never steps foot on that pitch when he don't give you 100%. Mm-hmm. And he kept going and going and going today, and we got just rewards. We did deserve to win that today. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody's in the chat or anybody's saying we didn't deserve to win on the balance of play, on the possession, on the forward passes. We did deserve to win that today, and that's what it's about this time of the season, this time of the year. It's just about getting those points on the board.
What's killing us right now is we don't have someone that's as clinical as Son. When we always had that Kane-Son partnership, so if Son wasn't on form, Kane would step up and Deja.
How you doing, Becky?
My man. What a legend. What a legend. But in years gone by, we had Kane and Son. Right now we're very, very heavily reliant on someone like Son, and that's why you're seeing maybe some of these games being a bit tighter than what they should be on the scoreline. If we had someone just as clinical as Son back up in that forward line, we'd be killing these teams off a lot more easily. 100% we would be. But also it benefits Son if we had someone on his level as well. Right now, he doesn't have anyone really that's on his level. You see him try and do it with Maddison, but Maddison's blowing hot and cold. When we had Kane, as soon as the ball went into Kane, Son just knew, just go, get your jets on, because he knew Kane would get turned, find them. He could also come in, play 1-2s and move off Kane and stuff like that. Son doesn't have that. He's doing it to the best of his ability, carrying this team in the forward line. But he needs someone on his wavelength next season. If we're serious about taking this project and really pushing it on, he needs someone on his wavelength next season. We won't get away with it again next season. We won't.
What do you gents think about Sonny's leadership? Because I thought, me personally, I think he's been fantastic. I think he's vocal. I think he's honest. When we have a bad performance as well as a good one, he's honest. He doesn't mind criticizing himself as well as the rest of the team. I think he leads by example. I think he's been a really class act as a captain. Do you know what I mean? We've had Hugo who led by example but wasn't as vocal, and we've had Harry at times. Do you know what I mean? But Sonny, what do you think about his leadership this year, being the main captain, being the main man?
I think he's been really good, to be honest. He gone are the days of like a captain that, like a John Terry, for example. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but somebody centre-back, big centre-back, shouts, screams, hollers, tough as old boots. That's not necessarily what a captain is about. There's so many other qualities to bring to a captaincy role, in my opinion. And Sonny epitomises what a captain should be: professional, courteous, good in interviews, honest in interviews, what you like to see, not just spitting out cliches, which Kane did a lot of the time. I know Kane wasn't captain, but you can tell the media training kicks in and they give very bog standard, boring answers. Whereas Sonny does tend to call out the team if, like you said, Rick, if we ain't played well or if he ain't played well, he'll go out there and be honest. And it's just being an ambassador for the club and a role model for the younger players as well, which I know as part of the leadership group, I know they all get involved in that as well. And I just think he's we will miss him in Son the day he leaves, and hopefully it will be, Spurs will be his last club. Hopefully he'll see out his career here. In fact, I'm sure he will. But I hope the club give him a role when he finally hangs his boots up, because he's one of those players, like I say, you'll miss him when he's gone. And that partnership, Son and Kane, you'll be talking about it with your kids and your grandkids later on. You say, that partnership was something to behold. So what do you think, Dave? I know you love Sonny anyway, but
yeah, look, I have a slight bit of a difference on his leadership ability. Look, I get what you're saying. I think for me, the captaincy used to be about a player standing up and telling someone what they didn't want to hear. I think now it's gone more into a popularity contest. The most popular guy, give him the armband. When I look at Son, don't get me wrong. I know he does it behind the scenes where he's not afraid to call people out and speak to them and stuff. But I do feel like if he wants to take that leadership to the next level, he needs to get a grip of things on the pitch at times. Sometimes when people ain't playing well, sometimes, judging on the person, you need to go and put an arm around him and tell him he needs to believe in himself, or you need to go and get him to book up his ideas. I think that's where Son maybe could take that leadership to the next level and become even more of a leader just on the pitch in the moment. I know sometimes, after the press conference against Fulham, people really liked how he handled it. I just feel like, it's too late in the press conference. It's too late in the changing room. For me, I want to see more action on the football pitch. Sometimes you can't solve the problems by speaking to people, on the pitch and getting it sorted rather than having to wait behind the scenes. Because there's a big thing in football now where players don't like to be called out on the pitch and stuff like that. But, you know, the best teams do it. And for me, I think that's where Son needs to go with his leadership next.
Yeah. That's some good points there, mate.
Can we get Chris back on the bloody well show? We've got 10 minutes before we get kicked out. Chris, get on the camera. Let's have a go. You haven't asked one question yet, Sunshine.
Oh no, it's terrible. Should we talk about do the West Ham preview now, Chris?
We're doing the West Ham preview.
Let's talk about West Ham now.
West Ham preview, right? We're about
look. You see, look. The main man here said 10 minutes left. All right.
So Dave. We were back in the top four for a short while. Aston Villa look like they're going to retain that fourth place. Aston Villa, of course, were 3-1 up earlier today. And then Newcastle beat them 4-3. What do you think the score? What are you laughing at?
Laughing at the beer hitting your bottom lip right now.
This is Lightwood, Norwood.
No. Wait a minute. Look, I'll finish that one. I'm on this one. You know?
Ricky would want to get a move on there. The head on that is nearly flat.
Do you think Van der Ven will be back in the starting 11?
Do you know what? For me, I think he has to. I think with Radu Dragusin, he's clearly not comfortable on his left foot. You could see that today, and you could see it against Fulham. He has to keep coming back inside to Romero and stuff like that. And I think it's very easy to sort of, you know, cop onto. And I think if he continues there, I think West Ham should probably use that as a trigger point. For me, I think Van der Ven has to come back in left-footed on the left-hand side. Very good with his passing. I think with Dragusin, you know, early in the Fulham game, he went to pass to Brennan Johnson a couple of times, put it out over the sideline into the stands. You know, at time today, at the start of the game, his passing was a bit wonky. That's something that Eric Dyer used to do a lot, and it used to sort of unsettle people around him, make other people a bit more nervous. Now, I'm not putting Dragusin in that category whatsoever. I think he's a much better player. But, you know, I think going into the West Ham game, being a London derby, I think Van der Ven has to start for sure. I think he has to come back in. And if Chris is enjoying the Luton game this much, what's he going to be like when we beat Arsenal in the North London derby?
Listen, he's on it today, mate.
Dave, a score prediction for you for West Ham?
Do you know what? I think it's going to be a tight, cagey affair midweek. I'm going to Tottenham to edge it 1-0.
Interesting. What about you, Rick? What about West Ham for you?
For me, I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham, bruv. I see us winning, but I see us conceding all at the same time. Chris, score prediction for West Ham?
I think that we'll win 4-3. I think it will be an absolute classic. I think Hunminson will get a hat-trick. And I think Kulusevski will get the winner. Knee slide right in the away end. It'll be an absolute classic.
Come on, Craig, what you saying? Come on.
You've heard it. Well, I think it's not been the happiest hunting ground for us, London Stadium, but I genuinely think we're going to beat West Ham. We're going to have too much fun. I think Van der Ven's going to be back, and I think we're going to win 3-1. So yeah, that'd be a lovely midweek game to finish off Easter, wouldn't it? So. Look, are you guys getting thrown out now? Have we got to?
Not yet, but we will be in a moment. Did everybody see? Listen, I don't know whether whoever's watching right now on YouTube, we always get messages and we always get love from Jan, right? From Jan, Jan, and this is Jan right here. Like this is the famous Jan that always sends love.
Hello, Jan.
To every single one of us and the show and every single listener and viewer, all of you guys, this is the famous Jan. Look, she's sending you love. And this is what she looks like.
Hello,
Thank
Jan.
you, Jan. Hi, Jan. Love every time, sweetheart.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. What? I'm corrupting Chris. Look, Adrian is like, Ricky Norwood is corrupting Chris. He's corrupting me. I asked for water twice. This is what I got, another pint.
Who's driving?
Tears.
Come on, Chris. Come on, wrap up the show, Sunshine. Do some work.
But just to get the show back on track, Dave, where do you think we'll finish in the league this season?
Oh, look, I still have faith that we're going to finish inside top four. I think, look, you know, a lot of the teams above us, they still got European games to play, especially Aston Villa. I think that will play a factor. I still think we'll get inside. I think we'll finish fourth. I would have said before the Fulham game, I would have backed us to finish above Arsenal, but that sort of put a bit of a downer in my pipe dream. So I am going to go for us to finish fourth this season.
What about you, Craig?
I'm still going to stick with fourth. I think we'll squeak it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it went down to the Sheffield United game. But I think by then we probably may well know if Champions League goes down to fifth or not. It's looking like it will. But let's face it, we want to get fourth. We want to be sure of that. So I'm going to stick with fourth. I think they're more than capable of doing it, but I think Villa are going to run this close. Man, you are still there. You never know what they're going to do. But I think 6 points behind, are they, or 9 now? Because we've obviously played before them. But I think we're just going to have enough to squeak fourth. And that'll be a brilliant season for me.
Well, is it 6 or is it 9, Craig? Come on.
I think it's 9. I haven't got the table in front of me. But it was 6. Dave will back me up. Dave's been drinking tea and I've been drinking water. So, Dave, I'm right, and we're 9 points clear of them at the moment, aren't we? I think United.
9, yeah, 9.
Yeah. So I was right. There we go. So yeah, fourth. I'm going to say, Chris.
I'm with the boys as well. I'm like, we have to.
I haven't even asked the question.
Everything. No, but I know what you're going to ask me. You've asked. Yeah. I'm going to say the same. I'm going to say we're going to finish in that top 4. I think we're going to be qualifying for the Champions League, and I think that we're going to have a great summer. Come on, you Spurs.
Nice.
Ricky, how confident are you of hearing that Champions League music next season?
Listen, I'm super confident about hearing that music, whether it's going to be in this stadium or on FIFA, on my PlayStation. I'll definitely hear it, right? Regardless, next season, I'm going to be hearing that music. But either which way, I you know what? On a reels, I think as long as we qualify for Europe, whether that be Europa League or Champions League, or even Conference League, but I know nobody wants it really. But I think as long as we qualify for a European competition, I think that's going to help us progress. I think that's going to help us build. I think it's going to be able. It's going to give us the opportunity to give some of the youngsters an opportunity to kind of find their feet, the same way that Harry Kane did all those years ago in the Europa League. So I do think that whichever European competition that we get, it's going to help those boys like Mikey Moore, like Jude Sunset Bell, like a lot of them, Lancashire, those guys to come through and kind of stake their claim, or at least give an opportunity to stake their claim. So either which way, I think it's going to be a good thing. But I see us qualifying for Europe, whichever competition that is.
Do you know what
I'm slurring now.
The most surprising thing is that Ricky Norwood actually turned up to the stadium, the right stadium, by the way, before me. But Dave, let's come to you. How confident are you that Spurs will play Champions League football next season and will deliver Champions League football?
No, look, I'm very confident. I know some people will be nervous with the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City and that coming up. But we played our best football against them teams. They all play high lines which suit us with the pace that we've got. They all suit Sonny through the middle and stuff like that. And we have saved our best performances for the big games. So for me, I'm very confident. And I'm a big believer in sometimes you have to manifest things. You got to believe in it for it to happen further down the line. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I wake up every morning to the Champions League team tune, and I close my eyes every night to the Champions League team tune. So I'm manifesting. I think it'll happen. I think it's very similar to when Conte first came in here in his first season. I think we will go on that run. If we would have dropped points today, I would have said no, but today, getting over the line, even though we weren't at our best, gives me a lot of hope. So I'm very confident. Craig?
Yeah, as I said, I still think we're going to get fourth. I can't wait to see what we do in the Champions League next season. Should we get there with this team and rebuilding in the well, it still is part of the rebuild, isn't it? 4 or 5 players, I think we're going to see come through that door. So. I'd love to see back up to a Doggy. I'd love a centre forward. I'd love a number 6, and I still think we need a decent backup to Vicario. So there's plenty of work to be. Whether they see one of the younger keepers. Well, he's not so young now, Brandon Austin and Alfie Whiteman, and they're not so young anymore, are they? So if they're not going to make it, I think they've got a year left on their contract. So I think they've got to make a decision in the summer. In fact, Ali Gold did a really good video about that. There's about 10 players that have got a year left on their contract in the summer. So we're going to have to make a few decisions on contracts soon. and the likes of Ndombele. What do you do with Ndombele? I think he's got a year or so left on his contract. So for me, you just got to out him. I mean, what a waste of a talent, but that's probably for another show. But yeah, I think we're going to get there. To be honest, I just want the season to be over now in some ways. You know, I just want us to get it done as much as I love watching us at the moment. But it gets like that, doesn't it? When you're up and down. But no, look, there's some big games coming up. No, West Ham, obviously, Tuesday's a massive game. Then we got Forest. And then we get into the Arsenals, the Liverpools, the Man Cities and the Chelseas. So whenever those obviously rearranged fixtures are going to be. So it's going to be, you know, we're in 2-game-a-week territory at some point. So they're not going to be any easy games now, regardless. So we just got to try and get those points on the board. I think if we get 74 points, I think we'll have enough to get Champions League.
So score predictions, Craig. West Ham v Spurs.
We've done this, mate.
We've done this.
We've done this.
Craig, where can people find you on social media?
If you want to follow me, that'd be lovely on Twitter at Dearman, or X as it is now, at Dearman9. So just give me a follow. I don't tweet much, but you know, I'll always comment if you want to call me an idiot or whatever, you know, if you want to, or if you want to be nice, that's lovely as well. So yeah, at Dearman9, lovely to be on the show. It's been a different one tonight, I must admit. It's been different, but it's been fun. So yeah, happy Easter, everybody, if you're celebrating. So all good, come on, you Spurs.
And Dave, where can people find you, and what is your content at the moment?
Yeah, you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur at the moment with games coming quick and fast, pre-match show, watch along. Probably drop out a loan report on Monday about how our players are getting out on loan as well and stuff like that. But look, it's been a blast. Hopefully I have as much fun as you guys are having when I'm over there for the North London Derby. So hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys over there. And yeah, thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dave. We've really enjoyed it as well. Dave?
Yeah.
Ricky, have you enjoyed it?
I've loved it, bro. And you know where you can find me. I'll be at the bar. On Twitter and on Instagram, I'll be at the bar. And that's where you can find me. No, listen, always an honor, always a pleasure. It was great to be back in the stadium today. Thank you, Chris. It was great to see you, bro. It was great to just have a giggle. And kind of watch a good game of football and a good 3 points. Do you know what I mean? So it's really lovely to be back in the stadium. Dave, you're going to love it when you get here for the North London Derby, bruv, because it's going to be electric, mate. And just make sure that you sing up, bruv. Make sure that you sing up, shout up, and make sure that you get this team over the line against them lot, all right?
Don't you worry. I'll be on it. Don't worry about that.
But you know what? Sometimes it's great to have a random show like we've had today. We've had Sandro. We've had Richard Whitehead on the show. We've had like some of the security on the show. We've had Jan on the show. Yeah, there we go. We've had Jan on the show. Chris Cowlin has hardly been on this show this week. And he's been here. We've had Kulu go past us right here. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully we're going to see Madison in a minute. So what a star-studded show we've had. Do you know what I mean? So listen, to all those that watch and listen and support and like and subscribe and comment, we've got so much love to you. I've met people from South Korea, from Canada, from America today at the stadium that have loved this show. So I want to thank all of you from around the world for loving and supporting the randomness that we come out with on this bloody well show. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's insightful, sometimes it's just downright funny. And today, I think it was funny. So I want to thank everybody for their support and their love. And I look forward to seeing all of you real soon. Come on, you Spurs.
Ricky is an absolute legend. Craig, David, Ricky, thank you so much for coming on this podcast this evening. And, of course, Spurs have beaten Luton 2-1 this evening. And we look forward to Tuesday's game against West Ham United away. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you soon. Come on, you Spurs.